So take the first question, which says that the stress experienced by a piece of wire diameter y over pi meter loaded by a weight of y squared newton is what? So stress is kind of similar to pressure. So stress is equals to force over area. So the force in this question, as you can see, is y squared newton. So I'm going to write y squared divided by, then the area will be calculated from the diameter, which is what we have here, y over pi meter. So let's find the area real quick. So the diameter is given by y over pi. Now, since we have y over pi as diameter, you can find the area by using the formula for area, which is pi d squared divided by 4. Instead of dividing this guy to find the radius first, dividing it by 2 to find the radius, and using pi r squared, that will be longer. Just use this formula, which relates area to diameter. So we're using a equals pi d squared over 4. So that will be a now is equals to, now our pi remains as pi d squared from here. This is the value of d. So if you square it, it will be y squared over pi squared. Okay, so just put that there. That will be y squared divided by pi squared. Then you have over 4 at the bottom. So you are dividing everything by 4. That's the same as multiplying by 1 over 4. So you can see that this pi here becomes with this pi. So it will be y squared at the top. Then the single pi will be here. That will be 4 pi. 4 times pi will give 4 pi. So that will be 4 pi. So this is the area. So just bring that to that formal relation. Y squared over 4 pi is the area. So come and put it here. Y squared over 4 pi. So you are dividing this whole thing to get the final answer. So from here you can see that y squared times, then this is divided, so it becomes times y squared times 4 pi over y squared. So these two will cancel out. So we're left with 4 pi. So the stress is 4 pi. Then just go and check it out there. So you can see from here. So 4 pi Newton, 4 pi Newton per meter squared. So it has the same unit as pressure. So question 2. Under what condition is work done? Now, what is work? Work is when an applied force moves through a given distance in direction of the force. So there must be a load which is moving in the direction of the force. Okay, so there must be a displacement. That means a certain distance must be covered for you to have work done. So the first option is a man supports a heavy load on his head with his hands. So the man is just standing. He's just carrying the load on his head. It's not as if he's moving. He's not going through any displacement. So this one cannot be the answer. A woman holds a pot of water. Okay, the woman is just holding the pot of water. It's not as if she's moving the pot of water through a certain distance. So this one too cannot be the answer. Then a boy climbs onto a table. So the boy is climbing on the table. So the boy was on the table before. So he's climbing onto the table. So that means he's covering a certain distance. So this one might be the answer. A man pushes a stationary petrol tanker. So the man is pushing the tanker. The tanker is stationary. So he's pushing it and the tanker is not moving. You understand? So there's no work done in this case. So the answer is option C. Okay, so option C is correct. Next one. Find the value of a capacitor with voltage 5 volts and 30 C. So this 30 C is the charge. So the capacitor, so in the capacitor you have Q equals to CV. So this Q is the charge, C is the capacitance, V is the voltage. So you have to find the value of a capacitor with voltage 5 volts and 30 C. That means you're looking for the capacitance, which is C. So from there, just make C sort of the formula. So you have C equals to Q over V. So the Q is given as 30. You are dividing by V, which is 5 volts. So that will give you 6 as the answer. 30 over 5 is 6 farad. So that's option B. Rainbow is formed when light undergoes dash. So reflection is when light incident on the surface bounces back after hitting the surface. So a rainbow is not formed that way. Next one is refraction. Refraction is when light moves from one medium to another. So light changes direction when it moves from one medium to another. That one is refraction. So then dispersion is when the colors of light are expressed, when the colors in the spectrum of light, that is red wave, when they are expressed, especially when light is refracted from one surface to another. So dispersion will bring out those colors. The next one is diffraction. This is when lights or waves pass through an opening. Waves encounter an opening or a barrier. Okay, so the only answer there is dispersion, which is what brings out the colors in light. Next one is when the bus is accelerating, it must be dash. So acceleration is rate of change of velocity with time. So if something is accelerating, that means it is changing its velocity. It is changing. So it will be rising. The velocity of that object will be rising like this. This means it is accelerating. Okay, maybe from 0 to maybe 50 meter per second. So it is changing its velocity. Accelerating means changing its velocity. Okay, so that's B. Friction due to air mass can be reduced by dash. So friction due to air mass can be reduced not by lubricating. Which one is this one? This one is for mechanical friction, which is friction that opposes the motion of two surfaces when they are sliding against each other. Then this one does not even make sense, nothing like propeller. Then polishing will also help to reduce mechanical friction. Then you have streamlining. So this one here means streamlining. That's what I wanted to write, streamlining, which is the process of changing the contours or the shape of an object so that it experiences minimum air drag. You understand? Just like what you have in jet fighters. You see the mouth of the jet fighter, the way it is streamlined. Next one is, which of the following operates based on magnetic effect of electric current? So electric current has magnetic effects. Just the same way magnetic effect also has electric current. So electric heater does not have anything to do with magnet. Same thing with photocell. Same thing with cold cathode. These ones are wrong. So this is a dynamo, which is like a rotor or a motor. Okay, so the answer is option C. Next one is, when a charged ebonite rod is brought near a charged glass rod, there will be dash. So what will happen? So ebonite rod is always negative. Okay, while glass rod is always positive. So when you rub ebonite rod on 4, it becomes negatively charged. Then when you rub glass rod on 6, it becomes positively charged. So when plus and minus meet, what do you think will happen? So the answer is attraction. So that's option A. Pilots use aneroid barometer to know the height above sea level because of what? So aneroid barometer is a kind of special barometer which is very portable, very small, convenient, and it is used by pilots to check the altitude. You know, the way altitudes vary with air pressure. So they use aneroid barometer because it's very small and convenient. So that's the answer. So the next one, a light ray passing from air into water at an angle of 30 degrees from the normal would do what? What will happen to that light ray? The first thing you need to understand is, when light travels from one medium into another medium, it experiences what is called refraction. So this is like one medium. This is like the barrier, sorry. This is like the barrier. So this is medium 1, and this is medium 2. So it depends on the kind of medium you have. If you have a solid medium, that means there are lots of particles in that medium. Okay, so if this medium is air, for example, and this medium is glass, for example, when light travels from air to glass, the angle here, if the let me just assume this is how the light is entering. It's entering like this. Okay, so when it gets to this medium, it's going to refract. Okay, it will refract. When it refracts, it will bend towards the normal. Okay, it will refract and it will bend towards the normal. It will be close to this vertical line when it refracts. This vertical line here is the normal. So it will move close to the line because glass is a solid. There are lots of particles in it. But assuming it is coming from glass to air, it will bend away from this line. You can see the way it's bending away. It will not go like this. It will not be close. It will not go like this. It will not be close to this line like this. It will bend away from, because air has particles that are far apart. Okay, so the answer is, make an angle greater than 30 degrees in the water surface. So this one is wrong. Be completely absorbed by the water surface. So if it's refraction, it will not be completely absorbed. Some will be refracted, some will be reflected. So will be completely reflected by the water surface. No, some will pass through. So it will not be complete reflection. It will make an angle less than 30. Yes, it will make an angle less than 30, because if it's entering at 30 degrees here, by the time it comes out, as in enters into the glass, the angle that is between the normal will be small. The angle that is here is going to be small. Okay, that angle will be very small because it will bend towards the normal. So the answer is option D. A solid cube of aluminum is 1.5 cm on each edge. The density of aluminum is 2,700 kilogram per meter cube. We have to find the mass. So density is mass over volume. So that means mass is density times volume. So D times V, that will give you mass. So the next thing is to check the density. Density is given as 2,700 kilogram per meter cube. So this is in kilogram and this one is in cm. So to make it easy for us, we are going to divide this one by 1000. So it will be in grams. So it will be easy for us. So instead of writing 2700, I'm going to write 2.7 because I've divided 2700 by 1000. The next step, I'm going to multiply by the volume. So since it's a solid cube, volume of a cube is s to the power 3. Side times side times side. So I'm going to multiply this by 1.5 3 times like this. So I'm going to multiply it like this. So 2.7 times 1.5 times 1.5 times 1.5. So what are we going to get? So if you do that calculation, you will get 9.1 grams. So that's option B. 5 times 10 to the minus 3 kg of liquid at its boiling point is evaporated in 20 seconds by the heat generated by a resistor of 2 ohms when a current of 10 ampere is used. You have to find the latent heat. So latent heat always occurs when there's a change of state. So you can see there's a change of state here because you have water, liquid, and it became evaporated. So it changed to steam. So use the formula Q is equals to ml. So this L here is the latent heat, which is what we are looking for in this question. Then this M here is the mass. It is given in the question. See the mass here. Then Q is the quantity of heat. So we're going to find out using the formula I squared RT. So using I squared RT, you can see the current there. That is 10. So we're going to say 10 squared times the resistance, which is 2, times the time, which is 20. So everything here must be equal to this mass here, this mass times L. So 5 times 10 to the power minus 3 times L. So we're looking for L here. So just bring your L out. Your L will be divided both sides by this guy. So that will be 10 squared times 2 times 20 divided by 5 times 10 to the power minus 3. Okay, so this 10 to the minus 3, I'm going to take it up. I'm pushing it up. So by the time I take it up here, it will become 10 to the power 3 according to indices. So you're going to get 10 squared times 2 times 20 times 10 to the power 3. Then 5 will now be at the bottom part. So I just have to evaluate this. So 5 here 1, 5 here 4. So this 4 here times this 2 will give you 8. 10 squared is 100. So 8 times 100 will give you 800. Then times 10 to the power 3. So you have 800 times 10 to the power 3. So this is the answer. So you can put it in standard form if you like. That will be 8 times 10 to the power 5. So that will be 8 times 10 to the power 5. That will be the latent heat. So just check it in the option there. So 8 times 10 to the power 5. Consider as option B there. The next one, if the SVP of water vapor was 13.5 mm at 33 degrees C and 7.3 mm at 7 degrees C, you have to find the percentage relative humidity of the air on a day when the average air temperature was 33 and dew point was 7 degrees C. So use this formula to find the relative humidity, which is the SVP, which is saturated vapor pressure at dew point, divided by the SVP of the air temperature. Okay, now at dew point, you can see it there, they give us 7.3. Okay, so 7.3, that's for dew point. You can see dew point was 7 degrees C, and this is the pressure divided by, looking for the SVP of air. So the average temperature was 33. So the SVP at 33 is 13.5. So dividing it by 13.5. So they said percentage relative humidity. So times this by 100. So 7.3 times 100 divided by 13.5. What will you get? So that will give you 54%. So you can see there, that's option C. Okay, so I hope you have gained something from watching this short video. Let me know in the comment section if there's any aspects you don't understand, and don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel, and check out the next video on your screen, which is going to help you. So part 2 of this video is coming out very soon, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out. Thank you for watching.